Hello Internet, this is Arina, the Siberian who's gone international. The God is the witness. I was never planning to make the third video about the curse of every Finnish apartment owner, the pipes renovation. But before I continue, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch this video where I tell you how, whether you want it or not, you can lose the control over your apartment for a few months and then pay dozens of thousands of euros for that. It's a fun story, go watch it. So, this havoc has started in June, and since it's impossible to live in your apartment while it's undergoing the pipe renovation, I've moved in with my parents who live in Jyväskylä. Due to the corona pandemic, I didn't have to go to the office, so I could leave Helsinki, and at least I didn't have to rent another place for the 3 months that my apartment was undergoing the pipe renovation. I think I'm already spending enough on this thing. I think I've been the dream customer for this company. First of all, we have dismantled the kitchen and took off the floors before we left the apartment. We didn't do it out of the generosity, but mostly because of my dad's lack of faith in people and their abilities to do the things right. But still, we have reduced the amount of work for these guys quite significantly. Look how it normally looks, and this is how we left it. Also, once the renovation was over, which was 3 months after it has started, my dad also fixed this disaster. I mean, this is how it looked before they came. This is how they left it. And this is how it looks now after my dad fixed it. I'm genuinely puzzled. I mean, let's say you don't have the tiles to fill that hole, even though I could have totally provided them, but why not at least make it symmetrical? Who was the person who took a look at this and decided, yeah, looks good enough, let's leave it this way? And that was not the only problem. One of the new wires that they've put was too short, so we couldn't put the baseboard on it. I was desperate at first because I thought that we will have to call them and ask to fix it, but then I have this spontaneous moment of enlightenment and I figured out that if we cut the corner, then it will fit. Luckily, this wire was going around 2 corners, so we could have cut one of them. My dad ended up having to cut into the concrete wall to make it happen, but yeah, we did fix it. There was a couple of other small problems, and yes, we could have called them, complained about these problems, asked them to fix them, but that would have taken another week or two, and first of all, we had only 1 or 2 days to spend in Helsinki to prepare the apartment for renting it out. Second of all, we wanted this pipe renovation to be over and forgotten about as soon as possible. And in a few days we already had a guy who was supposed to move in. The only things which we didn't do ourselves are the ones that we are legally not allowed to. You must call the certified specialist to do electric and plumbing works. So we needed to use the electrician to connect the oven. We needed to ask the plumber to come to install the dishwasher and to connect it to all the pipes. By the way, when the plumber came and he was setting up the dishwasher, he used 2 long screws, and that screw came out on the other side of the panel, the one that you can see from the living room. And then I have a hole in it. And we also did let it slide. That's why I'm saying I was the dream customer. We left the apartment in a perfect state for them to start the renovation right away. We did all the dismantling and assembling of the kitchen and the floors ourselves. We never complained about their fuck-ups. And we disappeared from their lives as soon as we possibly could. So that was the end of August, and then a funny thing happened. My Russian neighbor from a couple of floors below calls me one day and says that 2 days after they've moved back in, they had a leakage. And not just a couple of drops. There was a full-on flood. Their ceilings got damaged, their whole apartment was covered in water, and they ended up having to move out to another apartment for a month while this company, which was doing our pipe renovation, was drying everything, repainting their ceilings, and so on and so on. My reaction was like, weird. I mean, it was impressive that the leakage happened like a week after they were done with that super expensive renovation, but at that point I classified it more like a bad luck. I thought, well, things happen. A few more weeks go by, and now we're in the middle of October, and one day I'm peacefully sitting at home, working, drinking my 3rd liter of coffee, when the guy who was renting my apartment calls. And he starts with, "Good morning," well, if I can call it good, and he tells me that morning he woke up, went to the store to buy some food for breakfast, and came back to this. Proper waterfalls. The water was pouring from the ceiling, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, on a balcony. All the floors got wet. Beautiful, huh? I've gotta say, I was impressed. This renovation was costing us 1,200 euros for a square meter. It took 3 months to do our stairwell, and then we have 2 major leakages within 6 weeks. Isn't it funny? And this is just our stairwell. I know about the first leakage only because it happened to the people I know. I know about the second one only because it happened in my apartment and destroyed half of it, so it was difficult not to notice. But it's not like they've made a public announcement about them. And there are 6 stairwells in total in our building, so was there only 2? What happened next? Well, in a couple of days they found an apartment for that poor guy to relocate to. Then they called me to come over. I did, from another city. We've decided that, yeah, the floors have to be changed completely, even though my old floors were pretty new. So yeah, they had to remove the floors, then they did the drying of the floors with the special drying devices, I don't know. And they let me choose the new floor, they let me choose in what color to paint the walls which have been affected, and all of that would have been okay, but then 1 week passes, 2 weeks pass, 3 weeks pass, 4 weeks pass, and I'm kind of in touch with them, but it's taking a while. And last Sunday, I think, I came to my apartment, noticed that, well, the floors have been changed, but there is a couple of major fuck-ups. For example, this is how the area under my kitchen counter looked like. Then those 2 panels, they are not on the same level, like one is sticking out a bit. Also, I noticed that when they were painting one of the walls, they skipped one part of it. And all of that would have been fine. I'm too lazy to complain about that. But then I saw this. Seriously, show me the person who thought that this is a good idea, because this is how it looked before. And maybe it's a good idea to take a picture of how the things were before if you're planning to destroy them and then build them again. So before and after. What do you think about it? I don't know. I personally think that it's like in top 10 of the ugliest things in the world. So that was the last drop, and my dog just bit me. Please don't bite me. You're a bull terrier. You're not supposed to bite people. So I went home and did what every grown-up would do. I wrote a strongly worded email attaching all of the pictures and asking to pay me some compensation for all the troubles I went through. Because first of all, I lost some rental income because I felt bad for the guy, so I gave him a discount. And that is the right thing to do, I think, because, I'm not providing the service the way I was supposed to, so I'm giving him a discount. These guys are not providing the service the way they're supposed to, so I think they should pay me some money back too. I think my demands are rather reasonable, because first of all, I got my apartment back in a slightly worse state than it used to be before they came. And even if I would get it back in the perfect state, I still had to spend this month regularly writing them emails, going to the apartment to monitor how the renovation is ongoing, communicating with them, it's all time. It's not a very pleasant process, even though the guy who was in charge of fixing it was a sweetheart. But still, I think it's just like fair, because if you've caused inconveniences to your customers and it was like 100% your fault, you just compensate for it with paying some money to the customer, no? And it was 100% their fault, because it's ridiculous. This is a very overpriced renovation. My apartment is 47 square meters big, and my bill for this pipe renovation is going to be around 60,000 euros, as I told you in that first video. My parents' apartment in Jyväskylä is about 70 square meters, and their pipe renovation costed 30,000 euros, about. What is the reason it is so much more expensive in Helsinki? Honestly, I just don't see it, because all I see is that they're charging the premium price. The quality of their services, well, I mean, we had 2 major leakages within the first 6 weeks. I see that it's mostly foreigners working for them, which is, I love foreigners, it's just, I'm pretty sure that they're paying them less than they would be paying the Finnish workers. So where all that money go to? And maybe it would be fair to pay some of that money to the person whose apartment you fucked up twice? I don't know, just saying. Let me know if you agree with me. Also, let me know if you disagree with me. But people who disagree, I know that they will let me know anyway. This is how YouTube comment section usually works. Despite of all the inconveniences I went through, I do not regret it happened. There was one great thing about this leakage, because guess where the water came from? From the upstairs. Guess who lives upstairs? Yes, that crazy old lady. And I'm kind of glad it happened to her. I think this whole experience was super beneficial for her. Maybe now she knows what the real problems look like and will stop bothering people about their showering habits. Maybe. Though probably not. In case you don't know who I'm talking about, please check out this video and then part 2. But basically I have a crazy old neighbor who makes my life hell. Well, not anymore, now I don't really care, but I used to. Anyway, so her apartment was flooded even more than mine, and if she freaks out about people taking a shower at night, imagine how did she react to this. Oh my god, when I was discussing it with the guy who was responsible for fixing my apartment, it was so hilarious. I could see that she has killed his soul during this process. The guy is actually a sweetheart, I'm telling you. I really like the guy who was in charge of fixing the consequences of that leakage. And then one day he asked me why she keeps going on about some wall. And oh my god, it's been 3 years, she still remembers that I was supposed to remove the bearing wall, and I did. And apparently she still holds a grudge, and apparently she's still afraid of falling through the ceiling into my apartment. Once when I was going for one of the checkups, I was sitting next to the elevator with the guy who is in charge of fixing my apartment, and then she also walked in, gave us both the cold, hateful look, didn't say hello to any of us, even though the guy actually did say hello to her, and left. And for me it's funny, honestly, it's hilarious to see her like this right now, because as I told you, I'm so over that conflict, I actually find it funny now. But poor guy, oh my god, he has to work with her from the position of the person providing a service, and he probably treats him like shit. Knowing her, I bet she does. Poor guy. I know this leakage was not this guy's fault, I just feel sorry that he has to fix all of that, and I think it would be fair if this company would compensate me for all the troubles. And what do you think would be a fair amount? I asked for 1,500. We'll see whether it's gonna fly or not. Let me know your opinions. Do you think they owe me anything? Do you think that I'm spoiled and asking for too much? I can't wait to hear. But now I have to go take this monster for a walk, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Bye! Excuse me, the little crocodile is disrupting the filming process. You are disrupting the filming process. Stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to bite off my hand. Sorry.